Welcome back to another edition of Chef Knives to Go Quick Look Product Reviews. I'm Steve Gamache, and in this edition we are looking at the Kurosaki AS Nakiri 165mm knife. So this line of knives has a core steel of Aogami Super or Blue Paper Super Hitachi reactive carbon steel. The heat treats on this is approximately 62, so they haven't pushed the heat treat super high, and so you've got a little bit of forgiveness there versus some of the higher hardness AS knives out there. The construction is a stainless steel, soft stainless cladding on either side of that core steel for a 3-layer sandwich. So only the core steel showing at the edge is reactive. It's really easy to see that edge steel there for a little bit easier maintenance. And they've also coated the stainless cladding with a Kurosaki or blacksmith finish as well for some aesthetics and additional corrosion resistance. The weight on this knife is pretty light. It's 137 grams, 4.8 ounces. Blade length, all these dimensions will vary just a little bit from knife to knife. So about 160 roughly on the edge, and overall length about 12.2. The spine thickness on this particular knife coming out of the handle and then narrowing down a little bit above the back of the edge here is about 3.2 millimeters, and then shrinks down pretty quickly after that, and then just kind of slowly shrinks down a bit till you get near the end of the blade, which is a typical Nakiri style. So even though it's a little bit thicker coming out of the handle, it does thin down as we get through the blade. The blade height on this one is about 51 millimeters back at the chin, and then about halfway down the blade I measured about 52.5. It's kind of medium height, maybe medium, slightly below medium height. Compared to a lot of Nakiri knives. Handles are just kind of classic, nice looking octagonal rosewood with a black packerwood ferrule, and really nice fit and finish on these handles. They're nice to look at, nice to hold. 3-inch circumference, about 76 millimeters where the ferrule and the rosewood meet, and pretty standard size handle. Kind of a classic presentation for him, Kurosaki-san, which is the curved Emoto or neck into the choil back of the blade. Perfect spot for your finger for a pinch grip. So these are kind of tailor-made for a pinch grip, although of course you can back up a little bit on it and hold it in a variety of ways, but they're really oriented best for a pinch grip is kind of the design. Let's take a close-up look. These are well-crafted blades. They've been getting high praise. This entire line has been getting high praise from some professionals on the Chef Knives to Go forums for the general fit and finish, the heat treatment, especially on the steel, edge retention, just durability, within reason, knowing what you're doing with a Japanese knife. So some professionals really like these. The core steel is, I should say, the cladding has chiseled kanji on it. It's a little hard to see that because the Kurosaki finish fills that in, but it is hand chiseled kanji. And the Kurosaki finish has kind of a smooth matte feel to it. It's not a lot of texture, but it does have a matte. And then you've got the grind of the knife is super easy to tell where it grinds down or loses thickness to the edge. And you've got a kind of a faux Kasumi sandblast finish on it, showing cladding down to the core steel. And you can see it's a fairly low grind on these, and it's kind of a pretty aggressive shoulder. It's not a lot of curving or convexing right there, right to the edge. So these have good food separation and pretty decent food release as well because of that. And so maybe just a little bit more wedging than if you had a really high grind, but you've always balancing out knife characteristics between all the possible ways you can go. Let's move out of the focus here. Oh, the other thing I like to mention is one of the things that's kind of cool about this line of knives is they polish the spine and take off that Kurosaki finish, which a lot of makers don't. And so you get a nice contrast and a pop between that black finish and that reflective kind of satin spine. So it's a cool look. I like the fact that they did that. Balance point on this is going to be, for me, pretty close to a pinch grip. And right almost on the money for a pinch grip, maybe just ever so slightly behind. Real light, nimble feel. Fairly thin behind the edge, but not crazy thin. So these are kind of built medium aggressive in terms of thinness. So you get good performance, but yet you get just a little bit of forgiveness and at that edge. So you don't go a hyper thin on the edge. So here's your profile. Slight touch curve like a lot of Nakiri knives have, but overall pretty flat. And then you've got a curved tip, which means it's real easy to rock these over shorter stuff, scallions and the like. Nice little rocking motion. So it's a good solid knife. It's well designed, kind of medium characteristics on everything. It should just be a good solid all around knife. So there you have the Kurosaki Aogami Super Nakiri 165 millimeter knife.